Hello, everyone, and welcome to Toku Portal Podcast. I'm Ryan. With me is.
Drago.
Welcome to Power Rangers Beast Morphers, episode 12. Uh, totally didn't almost forget about the podcast tonight. I don't know why you'd think that.
Yeah, I nearly forgot as well.
Uh, I'm gonna be honest. Between doing my homework and then playing Smash with friends, I was just mentally checked out.
I almost overslept, and then I was just eating food after that. So
All right. So on this week's episode, uh, Nate is building a new weapon for the Rangers to use. Some cheetah claws for Red. But Steel is pretty bored and would rather go outside and do any sport activity. Now,
mm,
it's important to note that when Nate tries explaining to Steel how science can be fun and what he's making, Steel pretends to have fallen asleep and fake snores loudly. That's important for later. Nothing?
nothing much because it's just straightforward to be honest. So
Yeah. So, Zoe tries encouraging Nate to just go outside, uh, but before he can work up the courage, Devin invites Steel to go play basketball instead. And so Nate just stays inside and sulks.
yeah, it is honest. It was kind of what do you call it? I don't know. It was actually sad to see Nate like that, and also the fact that he could and I could at times I could relate to his insecurity of not playing sports properly. So yeah,
Uh, so, after a rousing game of basketball in which Steel popped the ball by trying to headbutt it and poking it with his horns, they come inside to fix it up. And Steel ends up overinflating it to the point where it Looney Tunes style blasts off and ricochets around the walls. It
yeah. The problem was that it was kind of funny, but sometimes like what do you call it? It this is one I don't know whether it is like I'm not really bothered by it, but some at times this show becomes a cartoon whenever doing the special effects, and other time it just see no what do you call it as a live action show it follows the rules of like like not being a cartoon most of the time, and then at a certain moment they have to add the cartoony bits, which I'm not honestly bothered by it because I'm used to it at this point, but it's just kind of jarring at times.
the incident nearly causes Steel to break the new cheetah claws, and when Nate sees that, he gets mad at Steel for almost breaking them. Steel points out the key word is almost, and tries playing it off like a joke, but Nate is still mad at him, and Steel realizes that Nate is genuinely mad at him and that he did something wrong, and so he apologizes for his actions. Nate is still mad at him and doesn't forgive him. And they are interrupted by a distress call because Blaze is attacking or something.
Yeah, the and and that's the and I really like the at least okay, this is the I'm jumping a bit ahead.
Hmm.
I kind of like the reason why Nate is a bit mad. So yeah, in this episode,
I understand. It's just, boy, is he really like taking it out on Steel.
yeah, yeah, I felt bad for Steel as well,
Like,
and yeah, continue.
sibling rivalry is a thing, but this is just pretty bad.
It happens when okay, I have a little brother, but yeah, taking your you when like your younger brother or even me as an older brother, we act when I was younger. I think when I was like 15 or so, like we used to take anger out on each other a lot. So yeah, it's not something new, but it's not that it doesn't happen, but at times, but it's and I really like the way they portrayed it here, which is nice, I guess. Yeah.
So they go to the park where they find Blaze, who acts as a distraction while his Robotron, a copy machine, uh, discreetly scans Nate from behind before they discover it, and get into an out of suit fight where Nate is being overwhelmed, but and he calls for help, and Steele was closer to him than he was to Devin, yet Steele instead runs past him to go help Devin. And like, I want to be on Steele's side here in terms of the whole argument, but that just one moment right there does not really fit. I think it would have been better if Steele did help Nate and Nate was still mad at him.
I think that is. I think it is. It is kind of what do you call it? It was bad of Steve to do that, but to be honest, it's not always. It's not that only Nate was pissed, but even Steel might have been miffed a bit. So yeah.
Your mic went really weird.
Okay, sorry.
I think it's fine now. Alright. So, eventually Nate is attacked by the Robotron, and so this time Steel goes to help him by shooting at the Robotron. He nearly shoots Nate, however, which just entices Nate's anger. And Nate blames Steel for letting the Robotron get away.
Yeah, and but this at this one was a bit okay. One thing is that I like I really like Blaze's plan of like copying one of the Rangers.
Yeah, Blaze's plan is pretty good. I noticed he didn't use one of the data chips.
Yeah, it kind of feels like this episode was supposed to be earlier, but
Right.
I think they wanted to have a break in between the data chip plot, so I don't honestly mind.
Just just a filler in the middle of their little arc.
Yeah.
Uh, so they get back to base where Commander Shaw has a meeting with Nate and Steele, where she tells Nate to cut his shit out and resolve their conflict, which Nate refuses to do. Uh,
Okay, it was kind of immature of Nate to not actually, if it was to refuse that because he is supposed to be a ranger, but at least give an air that he, at least while talking to the commander, just give an air that you're gonna refuse it
like,
because professionalism. But again, Nate is a bit younger, so
like
and
I,
I doubt, yeah, like, okay.
I understand that Nate had a bit of a rough growing up, and being raised and such, but he is actually being a child about this. Steel is doing nothing but apologizing and saying, I want to make it up to you. And Nate is just refusing to acknowledge any of it.
Yeah,
Uh, so Nate steps out to go pick up some supplies. Uh, the robot trying to disguise himself as Nate so he can sneak into the building and disable the Megazords so that they can send a Giga Drone down. Steel cleans up Nate's like entire lab. It doesn't show us this. Like he runs into the fake Nate in the hallway to like try and talk to him. Like, hey, look, I really want to apologize to you. So I did all this stuff to make it up to you. Uh, and the fake Nate doesn't know about the argument, so he's hearing him out. But if it was the real Nate, like they wouldn't have even had that conversation. Uh, so Steele also apologizes for nearly shooting Nate, and the fake Nate is just like, "Alright, I forgive you, just promise to never shoot me again." And Steele, of course, says, "Not intentionally." And I just love that.
yeah,
I just love that, like, clever thinking. It's like, oh, will that come up later? Sort of.
yeah, yeah. I really, this is why I really like Steel. Steel is the best character in this
like,
show.
like, just what happens later is perfect. Especially with this setup.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, So Steele offers to help bring in the supplies, and he goes out to the car, uh, where the real Nate is, and Steele goes to help him bring them in, but the real Nate didn't make up with him, and so yells at him and says, "No, I got it," leaving Steele confused about why Nate is still mad at him. Zoe sees this interaction, and this prompts her to go talk with Nate. And I like how they did this. I like how they had Nate Steele like approach the wrong car, which looks like the one Nate would have taken, and then while he's not looking, like the real Nate drives in with his car, and so from Steele's perspective, it's like, oh, Nate came with him, and oh, hey, I was in the wrong car. There we go.
yeah.
Uh, so Zoe goes to talk to Nate to ask him like why he's being such a dick. Uh, with Steele around the corner listening in because he also went to go and talk to Nate again, and Nate confesses that he's not mad at Steele, he's mad at himself, because he always wanted a brother to spend time with, and now that he has one, like Steele would rather go outside and play rather than like work with him in the lab. And Nate just doesn't know how to play outside. He doesn't know how to play any sports or anything. He feels disconnected from his brother that he's always wanted, and he doesn't know how to handle that.
Yeah, but again, I think it's just that Nate. I feel that Nate still treats him like a robot buddy rather than his own person, which is kind of not a good thing because Steel has conscience, which and he should be allowed to do things on his own. He is half human after all. So that's one thing that I think Nate is kind of wrong in this, to force someone else to be with you all the time.
Nate is definitely in the wrong in this on both points. Uh, the sympathetic part comes from that he doesn't know how to channel like his feelings in this situation. Uh, because like, hey, he doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
like
like
living most of your life in your lab is gotta be gotta be what do you call it? Yeah, you. I don't think you would develop any good social skills that way.
right. Like he doesn't hang out with people, so he doesn't know how to convey how he's feeling very well, and it took Zoe approaching him and finally calling him out on it for him to say how he's feeling. With that being said, I don't really feel bad for Nate in this episode because he could have, back when Steele went to play basketball with Devin, like, Nate could have joined them.
Yeah, that is true. And but I also like the fact that in most of the episodes that Zoe and Nate's relationship has been kind of building up.
That's also
At
good.
least, yeah. So I'm really enjoying like all the at least most of the episode like with whatever setup they're doing here.
It also seems like Nate has self confidence issues because the reason he didn't join them is because he doesn't know how to play basketball. And I don't know, I think the implication is that he was embarrassed to, like, admit that or something. Like, he didn't want to go out there and be like, I don't know how to play. Like, he didn't want to ask for
Yeah,
help. He was afraid, maybe. I'm inferring stuff at this point, but,
I think they want you to infer that because that's the kind of performance that the actor has been giving. So that would be the most likely thing you would assume.
Oh, and you just made me realize it makes sense he would open up to Zoe because he has a crush on her. He wants to talk to her.
Yeah,
He can't be mad at her. He can't just shrug it off and walk away from her like he's been doing with Steel all episode.
pretty much.
You know, this show in general has pretty decent writing. I like it.
And it is quite enjoyable to like at least in here it is more a show not tell, which I really appreciate.
Right. It's not like the jokes don't always land, but just the way things are executed is well done.
Mm.
Uh,
Uh, yeah.
Speaking of the way things are executed, while Steele is eavesdropping, he sees fake Nate pass by and realizes, like, wait a second, two Nates? That doesn't make any sense. So he follows fake Nate, who finally finds the lab where he finds the control panel that launches the Megazords and gets ready to destroy it. Steele tries to stop him, but when he goes for it anyways, Steele just point blank shoots him, no hesitation. It does not matter at all that he looks like Nate. The promise doesn't come to play at all. Steele just fucking goes for it, and fake Nate, like, falls over the table. He gets launched like 5 feet.
That was one of the most. I laughed so hard when this
Oh,
scene happened. With reference to the previous scene, he
it's
still has no chill. Straight
like
up.
it is so beautiful. Like, oh man, Steel is the best character on this show.
Yeah. Like, if I mean, like, this was such a hilarious scene to watch. Like, especially like I was watching the friend, and the guy basically has not seen Power Rangers, and this is his first season. Uh, so he basically said that they didn't just shoot him. I thought that promise was supposed to be like limiting him or whatever. Like that was
The the
that I really like. Okay.
the the uh, you okay,
Hello.
Drago? Drago?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
I got disconnected for a second.
Okay. Yeah. The fact that, like, the promise is just completely disregarded and never mentioned again is what makes that scene so great.
Yeah,
It sets up your expectation for this like confrontation of Steele's like moral compass and his ethical values, and nope, just shoots a hole right through those.
yeah, that was pretty entertaining to watch.
Uh, so, uh, while Steele was eavesdropping, and he hears how like Nate is explaining to Zoe that he feels like Steele doesn't want to hang out with him because he finds science boring. Steele asks this question to himself, like, why would Nate get that idea? Remember earlier when I mentioned that when Nate was trying to talk science with Steele, Steele was pretending to be asleep and fake snoring really loudly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what Nate gave the idea that Steele found science boring.
That was this is why in this episode I think that it was Steve also who was a bit too showy as such. So yeah,
Steele doesn't appear to be
good.
quite aware of his own actions, is the implication. Because remember how when he almost broke the cheetah claws, he made a joke about it before realizing just how seriously mad at him Nate was.
Mm. Uh,
And
at
I,
least in which I do appreciate is that is not that one person is at fault. It's both the people who are not perfect.
and I definitely got
It,
the
it,
impression that when Steele was apologizing, he was apologizing more for the fact that he upset Nate rather than what he did was reckless.
yeah, and yeah, this is what. Okay, in the previous, in I think 2 episodes ago, where like both Zoe and Devin were at fault for they both had faults for doing
Like,
For the Ben and Barry situation.
Zoe lied to
Uh,
Devin, but Devin was unreasonably angry about it.
yeah. So so it was like so like I really like the fact that they have like there's no clear what do you call it person at fault here. It's just that both of the parties are to be blamed for whatever actions whatever action and reaction they instill from the other person. And that is what I really like about that I'm liking about this show.
Yeah, Steele's not in the right. He just didn't deserve the treatment that Nate was giving him for his actions.
Yeah.
So, uh, Steele sells out a distress signal, and the other Rangers come rushing into the room where they find two Steels. Which one do I shoot? Uh, the real Steel ends up convincing them that's him by revealing that he eavesdropped on the conversation and giving the most genuine apology to Nate that he could about how he didn't mean to make Nate feel excluded and such. And Nate realizes that, like, yeah, this is our Steel.
The apology was pretty genuine. I really like that. Otherwise, I have nothing to say about this.
Uh, so the fake Steel, like, makes his way out and shoots the control panel while he does it. The three main Rangers go and chase after him, while Nate and Steel stay back to fix the control panel so they can launch the Megazord. Meanwhile, Blaze gives the go to Scrozzle to send Giga Drone down while the Zord launch system is inactive. Uh, when they do get the control panel working again, they are able to. Well, they get it working enough to launch Red's mech, which is the important one because it can fight on its own.
Mm.
And so, yeah, the majority of the remainder of the episode is just fight sequence and fight sequence. I'm still loving the parallel, like on the ground and in the mech fights happening simultaneously.
Yeah, it just keeps the fight really entertaining to watch because you don't. It's not as like you are. It's not like obligatory Megazord fight where like you can basically turn your brain off and not continue. But when the fight is also on the ground, you get to see you still are aware of the Megazord fight after that. You don't forget about it because you are seeing both simultaneously.
There are definitely
Uh,
times where where I watched the end of the mech fight and then I blinked and went, "Wait, what happened?" Because I just kind of zoned out. So it's like there are some shows where you've seen one, you've seen them all.
yeah, that's and in Beast Morphers, I think even in Go Busters, I did enjoy this parallel fighting, and I also really like that. What do you call it? I One thing I really appreciate about this show is that Uh, the one thing I really appreciate about this show is that the villains are not just sending down the monster of the week so that to defeat the Rangers and to enact their plan, but they are having other plans as well to basically cripple the Rangers so that they can't come and they can't interfere with the villains. Or they have another plan to basically increase their power up or something like so that they are succeeding in one or two areas while failing in the others. That
And
I really enjoy it.
And it's a very interesting contrast from how Go Busters did it, where every episode they were just trying to collect Enetron. We need Enetron so we can keep fighting. We need to steal this. Whereas here, it's like, alright, they got that one really good heist, and that is still carrying them like a month later while they do other things.
Yeah, and that is I feel is one of the biggest strengths in Beast Morpher's writing is that it's not their villains plan things out like even if the plans aren't perfect but they are planning things so that they can defeat the Rangers or so that the Rangers won't show up to interfere with their plans, which is a really nice change of pace from most seasons of Rangers or Sentai.
So after Blue and Yellow defeat the Robotron, they jump in their mechs and go to help Red. And when they arrive at the fight scene, what? Two red mechs? Which one's the real? Yellow just shoots them both and sees which one turns back into the Gigadrone.
This episode has a bunch of shooting gags, which I really love.
Uh, like, she plays it up more because she's just like, "I'll have an idea, but I don't think Devin's gonna like it." And then she does it. But I wish she would have just done it. I wish they would have cut that line out and have her just go for it.
Yeah, and that would have been hilarious. Even more funnier than it already is. Uh,
So back at the lab, Nate is throwing crumpled up pieces of paper into a wastebasket. Steele walks in and sees him and encourages him to give basketball a try. Uh, so they properly like make up and they go outside to play basketball with everyone. Uh, and Steele pulls out his secret weapon. Nate gets the ball. He holds the ball. Steele picks up Nate and throws Nate through the hoop.
that is one secret weapon that I that is. Oh, I really feel bad for Nate.
That could have killed him.
But then yeah, but then again, he's a superhero.
Yeah.
He probably has superpowers.
And then Nate gets stuck in the hoop. So the ball hasn't passed through yet, and so Steele just goes and pulls on his legs to get him through.
Mm.
I love that like when they're celebrating, like Ben joins them. I'm glad Ben's having a good time.
that's one thing that even in the background, like they don't actually, even if it's not like necessary, I do enjoy the fact that they are treating Ben and Betty as friends. Still, even if like it's even if it's not mandatory. I do understand that like at times I feel that people do get annoyed by Ben and Betty, but them committing to it, like them coming making Ben and Betty their friends rather than a side plot or a B plot or the people who Rangers laugh at for their misery. It's it's just a nice change of pace.
Yeah, like while everyone remembers who Bulk and Skull are, like nobody remembers those two people from Ninja Storm. Like they had a B plot, but
Then Ninja Storm, Mara and Capri were the villains, so at least they when they did something that you could remember that, but it was more of the Devin and Cassidy from what do you call it, from Dino Thunder, whom like I still had trouble remembering the
oh
names.
wait, I was thinking of Dino Thunder, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were thinking of Dino Thunder. Yeah, those people I do have a trouble in remembering the names. And the previous season of in Ninja Steel, in the previous season Ninja Steel, those the two Bulk and Skull ripoffs were what do you call it? They were the one of the worst parts about the show. And one of the main reasons why they don't like them, a lot of audiences didn't like them was because of that. And also even what do you call it? In Samurai, they had Burke and his and Spike's son there, which was also very disconnected from the plot. So I don't remember what happened with them at now. Bulk and Skull are a bit memorable because one, they were the first ones, and the second thing is that is because they had few moments which make them shine a lot, and you saw them for 5 seasons straight, so you remember them. But if you just went by Mighty Morphin season one, then I don't think I would have remembered Bulk and Skull either.
Hmm. Fair point. So thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll be back on Tuesday for more Rio Soldier. Wednesday, for the final countdown of Zeo. It's on its last month. And next Thursday for more Beast Morphers. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.